going to talk about design patterns, which are creational, structural, and behavioral. Firstly, I'm going to talk about creational design patterns. If we take a brief introduction to creational patterns, this is all about creating objects. They provide various ways to create objects, helping to make the system flexible and reusable. Under the creational design pattern, I'm going to talk about Singleton pattern. The Singleton pattern ensures that the class has only one instance and provide a global point of access to it. Think of it like a single printer manager in an office that controls all the printing jobs. So here is the code I used to implement Singleton pattern. We need to create a private static variable. Single instance is declared to hold the single instance of the Singleton class. This ensures that the instance is shared across the methods in the class. Next, we have to make a constructor which is private to prevent instantiation of the class from outside. This ensures that the only way to create an instance of the Singleton class is through the class itself. Next, we have the method called getInstance. It is public and static, allowing us to access globally. It checks if the single instance is null, and if so, creates a new instance of the Singleton class. This ensures only one instance of the class is created. Next, we use an example method called showMessage, which can produce output, hello, I am Singleton. So finally, here is the main class that we use to run the Singleton method. So here we get only instance of a Singleton class and call a method on the instance. So if we run this file, we can get the output as here. Here is the output of the code. Next, as my structural design pattern, I am use Facade pattern. Let's talk about what is a structural design pattern. Structural design pattern focus on how objects and classes are composed to form larger structures. Actually, they are about how objects are structured. They help ensure that changes in system don't cause issues elsewhere. Under the structural pattern, I'm going to talk about facade pattern. So the facade pattern provides a simplified interface to a complex subsystem. It's like having a storefront that makes it easy for customers to access the various products inside the complex store. So here is the code I used to explain facade pattern. Firstly, we use subsystem class A and subsystem class B, also subsystem class C, to represent different parts of a complex subsystem. Each of these classes has a method and performs a various operation. For an example, here the operation A print as subsystem class A operation A, and here is the operation B give output as subsystem class B operation B, and same as subsystem class C. So these are three type of operations that performed by each class. Then we have to implement a class called Facade. Here the name I use is class name as Facade. So we use Facade class to provide a simpler interface to the subsystem. This class aggregates the subsystem classes and provides simplified methods for the client to use. So here we can see that we have implement the all classes that we created above. We use constructor to initialize the instances of the subsystem classes. Here is the constructor we use. And then we can simplified operation and another simplified operation methods to provide a simplified interface to the client. Here are the interfaces that we created to make it easier to the client. And then here is the code that we use Facade pattern demo class to demonstrate how the client interacts with the subsystem where the client uses the Facade to perform operations without needing to interact directly with the subsystem classes. So by running this code, we can see what is happened here in Facade pattern. If we take as summarize, this helps to simplify complex subsystems by providing a unified interface. Here is the example that we can get from Facade pattern. And finally, I'm going to talk about behavioral patterns. Behavioral design patterns are concerned with how objects interact with and communicate with each other. They help define clear and manageable ways for objects to communicate. Under the behavioral design pattern, I'm going to talk about mediator pattern. This pattern centralizes complex communications and central control logic between related objects. Instead of objects communicating directly, they go through a mediator. This is like an air traffic controller who manages all the planes, communication, and coordinates the actions. If we talk about air traffic controller, here the pilots are not going to talk with each other. There is someone that plays as a role that help to communicate every pilots to only one controller. So that is why that is what happened in air traffic controller. So that is the best example that we can explain about mediator pattern. They place as a mediator between the pilots. So in this code we can see what is happening in mediator pattern. I'm use this code. So here I took a chat tab that it has, for an example, we can take 4 users are there, and if one user send message, the all other 3 users can see his or her message. So that is called we can take as mediator pattern. Firstly, we use an interface called chat mediator to declare methods for sending messages and adding users. This interface provides a contract for the mediator's behavior. So here is for send message and add user. Here are methods that we have implemented. Here we have 2 variables called a string, a message, and user. Then we use a chat mediator implements chat mediator interface. This class manages communication between users by holding a list of users and relying messages between them. So we use array to save the users in our chat tab. then we have a constructor. We use the constructor to initialize the list of users. Here is the constructor that we use, and then we have implement add user method to add users to the mediator, because we are going to communicate through a mediator, because all the users must need to see the messages that if one user send a message, all users have to receive that message. So then we have implement the method called send message to relay messages from one user to all users, except the sender. All the other users will receive the message. Then we have a user class. User class, here we use to hold a reference to the mediator and declare methods for sending and receiving messages. Each user will interact with the mediator to send messages to other users. So here is how we implemented the class user, and so here we use user implementation class to extend the user class and provide complete implementations for the send and receive methods. This class defines how a user sends and receive messages via mediator. So this is how we can implement that. And then we have we use the mediator pattern demo class to demonstrate the usage of the mediator pattern. The client code creates the mediator, registers user, and send message through the mediator. So here are the usernames that we can take as example: Alice, Bob, Charlie, David. Here are the 4 users that use this chat app, and here are the here we communicate everyone through the mediator as a user. Here is, and if user one send if this one if user one send hi everyone, all except the user one, all the other 3 users will receive the message that sent by the user one, hi everyone. Let's see. So the message sent by the user one, and all the other users will receive the message as hi everyone sent by the user one called Alice. Bob, Charlie, and David, all 3 users will receive the message through mediator. This is how we can implement if we take another example. So here, if we take as user 2, send message as hello, I'm Bob. We run this. Here as the first, same as the first one, all other users will receive this message through the mediator. If we take a summary, the mediator pattern simplifies communication between objects by using the mediator to manage the interactions. This decouples the objects from each other, making the system easier and manage and extend. So here is the second message we send. Bob sending the message as hello, I'm Bob, and all other 3 users receive their messages. That's all about the design patterns. Then all the examples I do. Thank you so much.